Hello, hi Antoinette, hello everybody.
Hey Louise, good evening. Hi everybody.
Welcome to our front rowers, our regulars, and everybody who's new. We're very happy to see you here. And if you come afterwards and watch the rerun, just say hi to us and comment, we'll go back. Okay, Antoinette, we've got an interesting comment tonight that we're going to be talking about. So let's take a look at it. There's been quite a few comments about it. Okay. You think attention is love, and that's why you suffer so deeply. Okay. So, I mean, this guy's is a Instagram friend, and he makes really thoughtful, Mustafa, he makes really thoughtful remarks. And he's got really deep questions, which is why I like to talk about the stuff that he brings up, because it's the kind of stuff that we used to think that gets us into codependence that is being addressed, because a lot of the popular media out there is about codependence. You complete me, and two people in a relationship are supposed to complete each other. And so that's all very codependent, instead of going to the healthy thing, which is I'm a whole person and you're a whole person, and we're together because we choose to, and we are mutually supportive, but we are functioning on our own without somebody else being our batteries. But now this thing about this attention. Okay, so this can be, so I think we can look at it from two sides. So if you say you think that attention is love, and therefore you have all the suffering. So the way that I'm seeing is like this. So you are starved for attention. You have got a very big need in yourself because you don't love yourself enough. You don't celebrate yourself, and you have not been brought up that way so that you are really self-affirming and self-directed. So you need input from other people. So somebody comes along and they give you attention. Not only attention, they give you acceptance. And it feels wonderful. You feel special. And who doesn't like feeling special? So if you can imagine, you are starved for attention and you get attention. You're starved for somebody noticing you and seeing you, and somebody's all over you. It feels fantastic. And we're going to call something that feels fantastic by a name that's going to make us want it. We're going to call it love. We're going to say, yes, this guy makes me feel good. This person makes me feel good. And therefore, it must be love. And there's the problem, isn't it, Antoinette? I mean, do you see the problem?
Well, yeah, attention can be okay, but only if we love ourselves, and it adds, if a person adds value to our lives, and we're comfortable with ourselves and the person, it's not just about having to validate or fill our empty hole.
Yes.
I guess.
It's that thing about this person makes me feel good. I'm supposed to feel good already. So if attention makes us feel I'm a worthwhile human being because somebody gives me attention, if attention fills a hole in me, if attention makes me feel whole, if attention fixes something in me, we're only going to be good as long as we get that attention. If somebody takes away that attention, we're going to fall apart. And that's where that post talks about the suffering. So it's the cause of all suffering because we confuse attention with love. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and if I can reflect back on my when I was younger and I wasn't in recovery from my mental stuff, any man that came towards me with a lot of attention and interest, I fell in love with, and I had a relationship with a very codependent, dysfunctional relationship until they ended up ending disastrously, and I had one after the other of those until I got into a space of self-loving. Yeah,
yes,
and choosing very differently. I used to take whoever chose me because, yeah, so I
exactly.
don't know if that fits in with this. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the story of a world. It's the story of young and in love and infatuated. It is the story that is the Mills and Boons. It is the the the, the the stories that we see on TV and on the movies. It's that story that that's what we need in order to have a happy life. We have to have that other person who makes us feel happy.
Yeah, and if we're always seeking attention, what happens is, well, what happened for me, I don't know if this is true, Louise, but you then get bored with that person. So you get the attention and you get what you want. The empty hole gets filled, but it's so codependent and so stuffed up normally. So you either just can't sustain it because it's so chaotic, or you get more attention from somebody else who comes along and then you switch. I just went from one person to another. I'm very embarrassed to say now that I'm nearly 60.
So
But
here
I
we are,
used
the
to,
vulnerability part of our show. Everybody, in case anybody missed it, we've just gone there.
you've gone where?
The vulnerability part. I've, you, look, I think if you've seen Tony's show last week, I mean, how awesome was that? Because it's just like, here it is, it's like nothing to embarrassed about. This is who I was, young and stupid. It's like I didn't know better, but geez, here I am, and I've got to the other side, and that's the amazing thing. Here I am, I'm on the other side.
But I
Okay,
wasn't always that young, even Louise. This went on well into my 40s, actually. So the reason we talk about these things now is so that young people, hopefully, if they're watching, they don't repeat these patterns because it's
no,
such a waste.
Antoinette, some of us are old fools too. So stop that everybody falls into this trap of thinking that somebody has to complete us, and it's got nothing to do with youth, nothing whatsoever. In fact, I think we can easily get by when you are young because it's okay to hop around a little bit and try here and try there. But a little bit later on, you're supposed to be a little bit more stable and settled. And yeah, so okay, but all right, let's go back to this attention story. So if we need attention in order to feel good and we stop getting it, that's where the struggle starts. That's where the real suffering starts. If either, for whatever reason, takes away the attention, for whatever reason, I've got a work commitment, or you know what, I started realizing you actually, like you say, you're a little bit boring, and now I'm not that much into you anymore, or you just had a bad day, or your own needs are so much that it's suffocating the other person. So then we start, or we just had a really bad habit. Some of us are very critical and we're very controlling, and that can stop the attention to come. So when that attention stops coming, then we start to punish each other. So one person is going to become critical or withdrawing or guilting or blaming or shaming or manipulating until they get that attention back. And so we'll go into hamster wheels. I should have put on an example of a hamster wheel. So when you go into a hamster wheel, so it's like wonderful and beautiful and rosy. One person stops giving, the other person starts retributing. Then the water's on. While the water's on, it becomes worse and worse and worse. And eventually we are like two toddlers screaming and shouting. Um, Both run, one runs to the other side, withdrawing both sides, ignore each other for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we get a bit of tired of it. Somebody will go and make peace. Now we go, oh, wonderful. We are reconciled. It's too wonderful, until we start back on criticizing, controlling, blaming, shaming, um, retribution back in the hamster wheel, and it just carries on and on and on and on. That is the story of relationships. That's the story of dysfunctional relationships. And we can carry on like that for years and years and years and not be happy or go find it somewhere else. So that happens when you don't go into a relationship and you are emotionally mature. Because if you're emotionally mature, you don't go in to get attention. You give yourself attention. Okay, so there's the second part of the question, but I will get to it now. But before we get to the second part of the question, here's the other side of this whole attention story. Because what is really important is to know that being in a relationship in which you don't get attention and time, those two things, attention and time. Attention and time. Why are you in it? So attention is not if you go into a relationship because you want attention, then it's the wrong reason. But if you are in a relationship and you are getting attention and you're getting time, it's not a bad thing. It is, in fact, it is required. If you're in a relationship and somebody doesn't give you attention and time, then why are you in it? What is your role in it? In fact, that is something that a lot of people have to ask themselves. They have to ask. I'm in this relationship and what am I getting? Am I getting this person's attention? Does this person ever listen to me? Does this person ever stop talking long enough or look up from the book or come home from work in time so that we can have a meal together? Does this person actually give me attention? Stop watching sport. Um, stop spending time with her family. And there's no space for me. So, I mean, it's both sides. And if we in that relationship and somebody doesn't give us time and attention, why are we? What are we getting? What is all this? So I'm just throwing that out there, and I think it's a really good way to think about the role of attention in relationships, because we also have to talk about good relationships, don't we?
Absolutely. They are role models. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the comments quickly. Right.
Louise, I'm not hearing you 100%. I don't know if other people are. Maybe you could just ask.
Oh, don't tell me that again. Are we not back to that story again? Let's see. Right, let's ask. Right, so George and Norma, who can... Jane. There.
Hey, Jane. Hello. Jane.
And Norma will say, Norma will tell us if she can hear us or not. Right?
Hello, Norma.
Hi, Norma. Okay, so we will check with that. Well, I hope you can hear me. It's been interesting in the past, but there's no noise, hopefully. Nobody said anything about a noise.
No, there's no noise. Just a bit distorted occasionally.
Okay. Well, you know what happens if I'm distorted, you have to talk.
Can hear you both. Oh, thank you, Paul. Okay.
Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. Okay, thanks, Norma. Okay, that's excellent. Okay.
Yay. Okay, so it's me. It's my ears.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's look at the rest of this conversation. Okay. Oh, it's way too small. I can't read that. Can you read that? I have to go full screen. I mean, can't read that.
I like talking to you. You ask very interesting questions. Going to do a live before. Oh, we'll have to scroll up.
Okay, wait, it's fine. I will read it from my Instagram page. That's where I'll read it from. And okay, so what he says is that I would like to know more about the role in this so that people can stop having dysfunctional relationships, the role of self-love, so that people can stop having dysfunctional relationships. So isn't that the best ever topic, to talk about the role of self-love so that we can stop having dysfunctional relationships. Okay, so Antoinette. So we are both in new relationships. I'm still married to the same guy, but I'm calling the new guy. you're in a new relationship. And so I think the most important is to say to everybody out there that we are doing things differently than in the past, right?
Trying.
Okay. All right. But like, so I'm going to say one of the biggest things that have changed is that it's exactly this thing. I have realized that I am responsible for my own emotional happiness. That's like huge. It is so big. I'm not supposed to sit around and wait for somebody else to come and fix me. Even worse, I'm not supposed to sit here with wishful thinking and magical thinking. I mean, this person just going to see that I need a hug. You know, Louise, open your mouth. Go and ask a hug. Ask for a hug. Go and give a man a hug. So that's if it's like a really ongoing problem. Go and talk to the man. Say to him, "Geez, when's the last time you gave me a hug? Like, what's up with that? That's the hug story." So that's so big that we have to take responsibility for our own wants and needs. And we have to
And
learn to
to
ask for it.
speak them. Yeah. To ask. Yeah.
So how big a part of all these previous relationships did you sit around waiting for them to actually notice what you needed?
Oh, and then I was furious when they didn't know what I needed. It's like, how could they not know?
Exactly,
But
they should know. They should know, shouldn't they? It's obvious. Yeah. And then it doesn't work.
yeah, it
And
also
that,
depends what kind of person you're in a relationship with, because there's some people you can't speak to very easily to state your needs because it just freaks them out, actually.
you would
I mean,
think
I was,
that. No,
hey?
whoa, whoa. No, you would think that. I mean, I do coaching with women and with men weekly, and everybody has got the same fear. I can't talk to this person because this person is going to freak out. Well, first of all, if you are reasonable and somebody freaks out and you are not nasty, you're not controlling, you don't have a tone in your voice, you're not trying to control them, you're just simply saying, yeah, I really like a hug, when's the last time that we went there at all? I mean, there's nothing antagonistic in it. If I am with a broken person, that person's going to be like, hey, you're so needy. Why do you always want something from me? Or like, oh, I just hugged you yesterday, or I just hugged you 3 years ago. Like, what's with you? They're all defensive. So if that person comes to me and they are reacting in a way like that, when I have been neutral, who's having the problem?
Them.
Yeah, it's not me. No.
But then we shouldn't be staying. I mean, I was in a relationship with someone, he's passed away now, but he would turn everything back on me if I stated my needs. I became the dysfunctional, needy. I mean, so in the end, you start believing that stuff as well. So those are the relationships we shouldn't stay in. Am I right?
No, not yet. Not quite yet. Only after you have changed. Because until you have changed, you don't know if you should stay in a relationship or not. If you are the old dysfunctional you. Because you are, first of all, contributing to a heck of a lot of drama. You are causing a lot of drama without even knowing it. You can be the perfect wife. I was the perfect wife. So responsible and so caring and so putting his clothes out for him in the morning and, just like taking over, making sure his finances are right. Hey, please take it, please take it. In the meantime, I was really taken care of too much. And I just looked like such a good wife. It was just so beautiful on paper. But I was over controlling. There was a gap there. You didn't want to do it. And also, I'm the organized kind. So it's like, okay, give me more stuff. I can roll with this. And eventually, he felt like he had no control over it. And I felt like I was dying under the weight. So we end up in these kind of relationships so easily. We end up in a relationship where one person talks a lot and is quite verbal, and the other person is just a peacemaker and an avoidant of conflict. And then you're going to set up one particular kind of scenario. So we have lots of different interactions, and some of them can look beautiful, but In my case, I was so clearly wrong, although I looked so good on paper. I was so clearly wrong afterwards. I was this organized person, liking to do all this. I was all busy and running around and making sure everything is right. But I was wrong because I didn't let my husband have his own responsibilities and his own consequences if he dropped the ball. And now that he does, and he's just doing fantastic. He's better than me in a lot of respects. And it is we have to learn to let go of stuff. We have to learn to ask more for ourselves. And until we have done it, until we notice it, I mean, we sometimes have to even notice it, sometimes we don't notice it. So until we become different, we can't say how this person is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, we had a long conversation about Mr. Man and the internet, because Mr. Man doesn't do the internet. And I didn't have time to order him something that he wanted. And this morning was the day when I said, no, this is not enough. I simply don't have time to do it. You want that? You need to do that. Yes, but this, no. When I started learning, I asked, I persevered, I pushed buttons until I got it. You're on your own. I simply cannot do this for you anymore. I need you to help me lighten the load. Really seriously, it didn't occur to me until today to say, the fact that I can do it faster and easier than you, and that you're willing to play on my emotions, and that you're having this one huge helpless act. You must see this helpless act. So it's a form of resistance. It's the same kind of form of resistance as somebody blows up. It's a helpless act. It's an act. Anybody can learn how to open up Google and search for something and pay for something. Everybody can learn how to do that. Mm-hmm. So whatever the reaction is, it's there because it works. Whether somebody blows up at us, or gets angry and control us with their anger, or have a helpless act, everything about it is the way that it used to be, and it always works. And sometimes we just have to wake up and go, like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still taking part in this dance? There's nothing about it that actually makes sense. If once you've said the words and somebody goes like, oh, okay. And it's not like there is no resistance. Sometimes you're going to get resistance. Sometimes somebody's not going to like what you say. But if you just talk in an adult way and explain, no, it's like utterly impossible for me. Yes, but it only takes you 5 minutes. No, come sit and do it here. And then, if it only takes me 5 minutes, I'll take the job back. But sit here next to me today. You need to do it. Because I can't. I have to do this and this. And if it only takes 5 minutes and you're right, I'll take it back. But come and show me. 45 minutes later. Yeah. So, sometimes you've got to go through that uncomfortable 45 minutes in order to get some understanding of the other side. And then you become free of a burden that you have because you didn't open your mouth, because you didn't think that you are worthy of support, and you didn't think to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to know if anybody else keep quiet because of reaction, because of somebody else's reaction, because it is so very, very common. So if we have anybody listening who is keeping quiet because they fear a reaction, let's comment for us there. Okay. Do you still keep quiet? Oh, I'm not even going to. Okay. Do
Me?
You still? Yes, because you fear a reaction.
Oh, there's an interesting dynamic going down in my relationship now. It's 2 years into it. I don't fear a reaction because I just find that I don't get a response. So that's quite interesting. I mean, the attention will be paid, but not. I don't know. It's quite interesting. It's something I need to just carry on observing. I think we need to be very self-aware of ourselves when there's a dynamic going down. Because this is the first healthy relationship I've been in, So it's like, it's Yeah, and it's hitting a lot of my triggers, as you know. We've spoken about that before. There's another whole layer of healing here for me because I've never been in a functional relationship before. I just went from one chaotic relationship to another. Um, so there's a lot of stuff going down at the moment because it's 2 years in, and that's also always a point where I get restless, actually. And so I think I need to read your book.
Bring out the chains, Jeff. Bring the chains. Tie it down and let her read the book.
But I'm
Okay,
not sure what happens when you communicate with someone and they don't really communicate back. It's like, but it's not the end of the world. It's resolvable because there's a lot of heart, in this situation and a lot of care.
Antoinette, if you are in a long-standing relationship that has had a lot of ups and downs and more downs than ups, first of all, you have to repair a lot of drama and damage and hurt and history. And you have to do it while this other person is learning their own lessons on their own journey. So you've got two people being on a journey, presumably two people working on it. And now you are trying to repair all the hurt that's gone past. And you've got that. And then say you've been married for 20 years or a relationship for 20 years. You've got a history of being codependent and having deeply entrenched codependent behaviors. And they become invisible to you. I mean, they've been invisible to you from the beginning. You just believe this is the right way, this is how it should be, and we just go, boom, this is my road, this is how I am, this is how this person is, and we just carry on down with it. So it's really hard. Like this morning, I noticed this computer thing. This morning, I was literally multitasking, doing 4 things at the same time. And ordering that one thing for my husband was the extra one thing I had to do while I was multitasking on 4 things, which I hate doing. I can't do that. Nobody can do that. Nobody functions on multitasking on 4 things. Nobody. And you should never do that because it stuffs up your memory. And you're less effective in the end, and it really does. It stuffs up your short-term memory if you jump between a lot of stuff. And so I honestly didn't see it until today. Now, there's a lot of dysfunctional stuff we don't notice when we've been in it for a long time. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to learn what a healthy relationship should be while you've got two people healing. But if you're in a new relationship, I've got this mantra, this really important thing. Start the way you mean to go on. That means you both must be willing from the very beginning to say, this thing is hard for me. Can we talk about it? This thing would mean the world to me. Can you try it? And the other side of it is, if somebody do talk to you, to not defend yourself, but be willing to listen and go like, oh, okay, I'll pay attention to that. Or I didn't notice I was doing, or that wasn't my intention, but let me see if I can do it differently. There's a whole lot of reactions that you can have, except just deny and reject the notion that the other person have. But the most important thing is this: you go into a new relationship, you have got the power to determine how you want this relationship to be. Both parties have. If you do it from the beginning, it's easier than trying to fix a codependent relationship. That's extremely hard to fix because you don't see it. You honestly don't see all the codependent. Some of the big ones you can see, and some of the small ones, it's just like, this is just what I'm doing. It's part of daily life. Let's just check here. What was this saying? Okay. Hi, Renee. Let's let it go. All right, yes. Oh, Jane, you are too kind. Thank you.
Oh, Jane, bless you. So good to have you here.
Okay. Hi, Craig.
Hello, Craig. So cool that there's some men around these days on these conversations, hey?
Okay, wait, sorry. There's a long one from Renee. So it was important to get attention because it meant I was accepted without anybody knowing my shame. A relationship that might have become more than superficial were ended, often by me, because I didn't want to take the risk of being rejected once they know the real me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so big. Wait, we're going to take Paul off for a minute. That's so
Renee,
big.
that is profound. That is so huge. Actually, I think I chose unavailable men because, yeah, what I've realized now with Jeff, because he's a functional person, is that, yeah, I can see all of me now. And maybe that's, Renee, that's so profound. Yeah, because maybe I didn't want people to see who I really was. So you choose people that'll just never get there. That's amazing. Or leave.
And a lot of us will leave people before they can leave us. It's for us worse to be rejected than it is to leave. So a lot of us, we fear the rejection so much that we will do the leaving. Or a lot of us have got self-sabotaging habits. It's like, if I don't want the ice cream, it's not going to hurt me if I don't get the ice cream. So we talk ourselves into we don't want the ice cream. And it's the child's spiteful attitude really that self-sabotages us because we've learned to keep the hurt from us from small. Yeah, thanks, Renee. That's a big one.
And we don't feel safe. You pointed that out to me. We don't feel safe, maybe in these good relationships. Some of us who have been adult children.
If you if you have had one of two things, either a very hard upbringing where you didn't learn to love and affirm yourself, and then, or where something earth-shattering has happened to you, your entire belief in the safety of the world is going to be taken away, and you are going to look for safety in other things. It can be in addictions, it can be in relationships, addictions to relationships. It can be in other kinds of addictions. It can be workaholics, so it can be like over working.
Oh,
And
that's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so if you do that, then you are distracting yourself effectively. So so you don't have to to feel the feelings. You're distracting yourself with what you are addicted to.
Wow, that's profound. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Renee.
Okay, wait, there's one from
What
Jane.
did Paul say?
He's last in the row. He's the last one. So I'll go with who goes first, and then I go down from the top to the bottom. Because otherwise, people who watch afterwards and doesn't know what we're doing. I've been in my relationship for 4 years, and I've just realized that my soul left when my husband left. So I've been willing to be in a present relationship without realizing that there was no real soul from you. Wow, that is big. That's very big. No real soul from you. So would you say, Jane, that that was a way of keeping yourself safe?
But Jane's saying she loved her husband so much, so when he passed on in this relationship now, she can't give her soul. That's what I understood she
Yeah, that's
said.
what I understood too. We'll go back. There's another one from her. We'll go back to it. Okay.
Okay.
A dysfunctional relationship takes differences into conflicts. A healthy relationship takes differences to discussion and change your behavior, and everybody gets better from it. That is so
Wow,
true.
well said, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody gets better from. It's like people have been sitting here listening to every single live session that I had with people today. It's like, and I hope everybody who I had sessions with today is watching this. This has been designed. I'm going to be pinging some people soon because this is the most valuable conversation to have. Um, in the throes of recovery, these are the things that we have to know about getting whole and how to talk to people and how to ask and how to have no's and how we are protecting ourselves so that we can't be fully present. That's a very big one. Thank you, Renee and Jane.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one from Jane. Yeah, it's completely unaware. Yeah, that's a big one. You were still safe.
What does that mean? What,
In your head, I presume that's what you're saying. You were in your safe place, still having a relationship with your late husband. That's what it sounds like to me. So let's see what
oh,
Jane.
wow. So,
That's what I'm
sure.
presuming, and we don't never should presume what's going on. Okay, so there's one from
Wow.
Jane. We're waiting for Jane to give us a comment.
Oh, wow, Jane, thank you.
Sounds like
Profound
you got.
stuff, eh?
Sounds like you got what you needed in order to heal, and you are very blessed for that. Um, okay, so let's go back to relationships here again, and we're talking about attention and about self-love, and how not loving ourselves is the reason why we don't have good relationships. Because that's the second part of the question. Not loving ourselves is why we have bad relationships. Because, and that, I mean, I haven't been talking to Mustafa for a long time now. So he's, um, for him to say that's a deep insight. Because if we love ourselves, we give ourselves attention, being, we don't have this desperateness to look at everybody coming past as the one, and to go into every relationship looking for the one, that person that will make us feel whole and complete. Because if we are already whole and complete, we don't go looking for what we can get from the other person. We go looking for who we can be in this relationship. Who can I be? Can I be myself in this relationship? And will the other person be themselves in this relationship? Like that, who who does that? Who has that as a yardstick of what a relationship should be like? Can I be myself? And
And you
will the
know,
other
it's such a relief. I mean, I got into a relationship at 58 where I can be myself, and up until then, I had never been myself. And I suppose there was a core belief system in me. There must have been that if I was myself, I would not be loved, not just by men, but in general, but especially by men. And when I met this man, he asked me for my phone number, and I said, don't go there because I'm really full of nonsense. In fact, I used a swear word. I said, don't bother. I'm full of shit, actually. And he said, well, just give me your number anyway. And he went there, and I have been 100% myself the whole time. And it's just a remarkable feeling to know that somebody that you can be loved just the way you are, because I've always been so hard on myself, and you still call me out on that yeah. And the incredible thing is, what was I hiding behind in the past, and just not showing up to be myself in case I wouldn't be loved. So it's a
Antoinette,
remarkable relief.
Antoinette, these last 2 months of live streams that we've been doing, you have stopped being so hard on yourself.
Oh yes, because I have a coach sitting here opposite me. No, I
Well,
have. Louise, I got it. I got it. I got it finally, I think.
the same thing, if you put your attention where you want to go. So now it's showing up every single week, and so also we are accountable. So if you keep on putting your attention where you want to go and you are accountable, that combination is the thing, that's the reason why counseling works.
Mm-hmm.
If you are accountable and you show up every single week, you're going somewhere. And the minute when you are there, we are here to help other people. That's why. We're not here because we're exhibitionistic, we want attention. We are here because we want to help other people through our experiences. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm also here because I now love it. I don't know why I love it so much, but I just love it so
You
much.
do.
I'm looking forward to teaching her so much.
Oh, yay. Me
But
too. No,
it wasn't like that
I
in the
was,
beginning.
I was so nervous in the beginning. You have no idea what it was. Yeah, but
But
we must.
you keep on putting your attention where you want to go, whatever it is, where it is. I don't want to bash myself anymore, or I don't want to bite my nails anymore, or I don't want to respond to somebody else's anger anymore, or I want to learn what my triggers are and just be mindful and respond and neutralize them. Whatever it is that you are concentrating on, and especially if you start helping other people and you know they're watching, then you are going to cement it in yourself. And a constant attention to something is the thing that changes us. You can't do this if you dip in and out. You just can't get the same results from dipping in and out. You've got to give this process your attention, because we are breaking habits that we have had since we were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. We are so entrenched in them. We believe them. We say, this is just me. This is just how I am. It's not. It's a bad habit. Let's toss it. So
Yeah,
anyways,
but
well done.
but you've taught me also to have self-compassion while I'm still, because we do repeat the same patterns until eventually we stop. If our attention is focused, as you say, and we have a very pure intention of where we're going, we do change, but it does take a bit of time. And I was beating up on myself in the interim, and that's what you stopped. So thank you.
Yeah, we do that in all kinds of ways. You know, we can literally think that I have to be perfect. I've now heard this for the first time. Now I've got to stop being codependent. I'm going to be codependent as of tomorrow. No, it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 years at least for you to stop being codependent.
Yes.
But there's other stuff that you can learn like this. You know, people pleasing and not having boundaries. You can learn that stuff like this. It's like literally. Renee, a favorite thing is this. No is a one-word sentence. When you get it, the first time it hits you between the eyes, and I can get it like that. So some stuff takes a lot of time. And loving yourself, we think it's so hard, but it's a decision. And it's something you do with logic. And you start treating yourself as if you love yourself. And before you know it, you get rid of all the what's the word? I don't know how to say self-hate. Just
Beration. Self-beration.
yes, and this, you know, some of us are like, we are actually disgusted by ourselves. We are we are so scared that somebody will see through this layer that we're keeping there for the world, because we feel so disgusted with ourselves. We feel so unacceptable inside, and it's unnecessary. So
But
we've
you
got
know
to get past that.
Yeah, and Louise, sorry, I've just had an insight. One of the most liberating things about having these conversations in front of strangers, actually, not all strangers, but a lot, is it's liberated me in a way, because now there's nothing, I don't feel like I'm going to be caught out as an imposter anymore, because here I am, my full in all of it. And the positive feedback is amazing. That's the incredible thing, because I'm not the only one, and we're not the only ones. People suffer this stuff. So many people, if not all people, and we're all hiding behind being nice and being positive, and it's such a relief for me now to know everything's okay anyway, even though I'm sitting here fucking well on social media. I don't know who's going to see this, showing up to say how crazy I am.
Yeah, it's all fine. So it's that you get there when you become willing to love yourself, when you become willing to be just yourself. Show up, this is me, here I am tonight, and just be me and show up. And that changes everything, because once you start to love and accept yourself, and you look at the story of this disgust you feel for yourself. The disgust you feel for yourself is not about the stuff that you've done. It's about who you believe you are inside. You might have done terrible things. I've done terrible things, I promise you. I cannot repeat them. Well, not here, but I'm quite happy to repeat all my terrible things to you when you sit next to me. But well, I also repeated a heck of a lot of my terrible things in my book, so it's all there. If you want to know what my terrible things are, I did write them down, so they are there. Anyway,
But you're so right. It's about how we feel about ourselves, not what we've done. Wow, that's
yeah.
profound.
But now listen to the story. So this is like us with this disgust, and we will make it about what we've done in the past. It's not about that. It's the story we tell ourselves. We say, I'm this unacceptable person because of this and this and this thing that I have done in the past. It's not the story. I have believed that I'm unacceptable, not as good as, since I was very small. Or the second part is I've been in a relationship in which I was abused and which I was controlled, and I have given myself away completely and utterly, and I have to start from step one. And that is the other exception, where it's not about your childhood, but where you have managed to get yourself in a situation where you have given away yourself and you were so completely mind gamed controlled that there's nothing, you don't even know who you are. But if you, and then still the majority of cases are going to go back and see, oh, there's a reason from when I was small of why I allowed myself to be treated like that and I didn't walk out the first time. So if you go to the real story of I was so small and I, from my small eyes, have decided that I'm not acceptable and not as good. And I have made a story in my head all along about how disgusting, how unacceptable, how unwanted, how unlovable I am. Is it true? Is it really true that I am that disgusting, that unwanted, not worthy of love and support? Is it really
So
true?
sad.
We do that.
Yeah,
An
we do.
enormous amount of us do that, and we just put the polish on and we look fine to the world. An enormous amount of us do that. And that is the thing. If we don't want to get into that relationship where we go for the attention, that is where we need to go. We need to go and neutralize that one. And sometimes you need somebody to help you. That's because it's so deep and it's so hard. And the more hurt you have suffered, the harder it was when you were small. Go find somebody to help you, to nurture you through it. Sometimes you need another person to nurture you through it, preferably a professional person who can keep their distance. Because
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
that magical combination of this person will nurture me, encourage me, help me see who I really am, but not abuse me emotionally. That is why looking for nurturing inside an intimate relationship is opening yourself up for abuse because you're not healthy enough yet. So you're not supposed to be healed by the relationship. You're supposed to go and get yourself some professional help and heal in a professional situation so you can have a whole, intimate relationship. And that's the difference, and we don't understand that. Let's look at
That's that's the truth. Yeah.
okay. There we go. Okay. Right, Paul, what are you saying?
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, you're right. That's how you do it. If you give it away, you keep it. Okay. Yeah, that's a big thing. A lot of people don't know that they are allowed to have wants and needs.
Wow, that's big,
What
Paul.
I wasn't asking for and what I wasn't getting for myself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one. It really is. Okay,
Amazing.
so I would say if people are going back tonight, go and look at all the homework that they have gotten. Like anybody knows me knows I'm so fond of homework, and I'm so fond of asking really pertinent questions. So the first one is, um, what is it that you are not noticing? Why are you in this relationship? Are you getting time and attention? That's question one. Question two is, if you're not getting time and attention, then is it because you don't know that you're supposed to ask for it, that it's your job? Or is it because you don't believe that you are worthy of it?
Sure.
Number three is start with what you need to go on. Even if you're in a long-standing relationship, if you have to think, Am I willing to do this for the rest of my life? Sometimes that is the question that's going to wake you up enough to say, okay, no, I'm not actually willing to do this for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Then this one that Paul has said there, very important. Go and see what your wants and needs are. You are supposed to have wants and needs. Go and make the list. And then, on top of everything else, you have to remember there is no mind reading. If you are married to a mind reader, phone the circus. Phone the circus and say, I've got a star performer here for you. This person is extraordinary. And, you know, if not, you have to ask.
And I think it's true, Louise, that men need, I don't know, so many people told me men need to know straight down the line what you need.
I said to somebody today, this is how you do it. You say, you take this nut bolt and this nut and this screw and you put it in this order. You don't say, give me attention. Don't. We all don't do that. You say, on a Sunday morning between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I would love it if you come and sit next to me and rub my back in this particular way. Not like wool all over, just go like softly, warm, kitty. You have to be that specific. You can't say I need attention. That is too wide. You're talking a language.
Wow, that's valuable.
It's not only men that we are talking about, but it does go for a lot. Sorry, guys, love you lots, but you have not been encouraged to feel from small. You've been encouraged to squish your feelings. But we also do have women who had to be so tough to get through the really emotionally scarred, small little lives, when they were tiny and impressionable. But they have also squished their feelings so much that you have to teach them the language of feelings. It's both ways. And we do have men we do have their feelings very accessible, and actually have their feelings so accessible that they're in a difficult position because their feelings are so accessible. They try and hide them to fit into the men's world. They try not to be this super prickly pear or jellyfish, like you're just going to touch me, exposed kind of being. And so we must be careful not to generalize too much. But whichever way we go, it really works if we follow this method. I want this screw and this bolt and this nut, and I need them put together in this order at this time for so long. I really follow that formula and not try and fill the huge hole in you with a vague wish for a long that you have. I need more attention. You have to be specific. And if you can't quantify it, you can't get it. If you cannot quantify exactly what you need, you're not going to get it. You have to be clear on what you want. Otherwise,
and actually, that goes for life in general, doesn't it?
Goes for life. Absolutely goes for life. In time when you are not clear about it, it's because you fear losing something. You fear that if you're going to be too specific or to ask too much or show how much you need somebody to go, soft kitty, warm kitty, then you are going to be abandoned. It's the opposite. You actually have a chance to get what you need, because if you don't, somebody's going to abandon somebody down the line anyways and start punishing each other anyways, and so they're going to become unbearable. I think we've answered Mustafa. What do you think?
That was a good one, eh?
Yeah, I wonder if there's anybody here who still has any questions. Let me check. No questions. No questions here. Right. Antoinette, anything else from you?
No, that was a goodie. Thank you, Louise.
Well, I hope that there's somebody who's got value from this, and I hope that we're going to have some people who's coming in afterwards to watch again. We know there's a lot of people coming in tomorrow to watch, and over the next week. So when you come in and you've got questions, go and post them. We go back and we go and read your questions, and we'll respond if you have anything that you want to know. And remember that we're very happy to get some requests for topics in time. We like to address what's out there and what's difficult for people. And yeah, Antoinette,
Louise, we're gonna do an MP4 recording. Hey, for people that can't access Facebook or social media, so we can WhatsApp it. Am I right?
Yeah, MP3.
Hey.
MP3, which is just the sound.
MP3. Sorry, yeah.
The sound. So yeah, I'll do a download of that and okay.
Because some people don't seem to have enough data to watch these things.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you,
Paul. We love your openness too. Thank you, and thank you for being here, and we love the support. Thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for your input. It's amazing.
Thank you, Jane. You can message me if you want my book. I can courier it to you, so it's not a problem. Yeah, and it's a big pleasure. Right. Okay.
Good night.
No, Antoinette, you can't say goodbye because I need to go find the song. I have to go find the song. Okay. Right. Now you can say goodbye. I'm ready for you. Wait. Where is goodbye?
No. Lucky I wasn't picking my nose.
Never do on StreamYard. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Antoinette. Love talking to you. And thank you, Mustafa, for great
Yes, thank you, Mustafa. Come on now.
Okay. You're ready now? We're going on to
I hope so.